Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to the introductory session of Google Cloud Presents GenAI Hackathon APAC edition. So, this is the introductory session wherein we will understand all the participants, fellow enthusiasts who are looking forward to come up with greater solutions, solving the challenges that are being faced by APAC and the region. So, I'll just quickly share my screen and then take forward. So first of all, I'd like to bring to notice the fact that this entire Google Cloud GenAI hackathon is based upon the challenges being faced in industries like banking and financial services, manufacturing, retail, e-commerce, media, entertainment, and innovation. And the challenges that you'd be solving would be leveraged and utilizing the technologies brought to you by Google GenAI tools, which could either include Vertex AI, Duet AI, GenAI App Builder, Model Garden, and etc. So today we'll be understanding what is this hackathon all about, the objectives of the hackathon, what are the problem statements, what is the timeline of the hackathon that we'll be looking forward to, what to expect in the coming days, the prize money obviously, and next what we'll be understanding is that what should an ideal solution that you're looking forward to, or what you should think onto the lines of how you could see that you could leverage Gen AI tools presented by Google to be utilized into the solutions in a day-to-day scenarios in the industry segments that are put up as the challenges. So without wasting much of time, I'll just quickly move on and let you know what is the journey all about. So currently, as we said today, on 16th of February, we are doing the introductory session, which is on in the phase one itself, that is registration and ideation. This is where you will be creating your teams, you will be working on your ideas once you have registered, obviously. Attending the master classes that we'll be having, there will be a couple of master classes, an AMA session as well, which would be all about your queries, about the idea that you have curated, and then submitting your idea ultimately. So this is the phase one that we are in right now currently, and that ends on 8th of March. That is when the registration should be closing. So once that is done, there will be a screening and shortlisting wherein all the ideas that have been submitted would be evaluated, and the initial announcement of somewhere between 40 to 45 to 50 teams would be made, and each of the teams would be provided credits on Google Cloud to proceed further on their prototype development. So with this, the teams would be moving to the next stage, that is all about the prototype development or the project development, wherein we'll be having an induction session with the teams. The teams would work on the project development, connect with the mentor and mentee, and then ultimately making the submission, which they would be claiming their final submission. Once that is done, there would be an evaluation of all the teams that had moved to the prototype development phase. They would be evaluated over a period by the industry mentors and the jury. And once that is done, there will be a grand finale, that is a demo day pitching, wherein the top teams would be presenting their solutions in front of the jury panel and accordingly would be awarded. So this is what the entire structure of the hackathon is all about. And currently, as we see, we are in the phase one of the hackathon, wherein you are working upon your ideas. Now, when we are talking about ideas, before we begin about the ideas, the first important aspect is the registrations. So for registrations, this Google Cloud GenAI Hackathon is exclusively only for developers from APAC region, and that too working professionals, startups, and developers who are working and not from colleges. So this is the criteria and eligibility criteria, and anyone who is enthusiastic in working through GenAI and utilizing the tools is welcome to participate. Once you have come up with the ideas that you're working on, the most important aspect is that how do you present your idea. So moving on next, I'll just talk about in brief about the problem statements, while it will be discussed in detail once we have the panelists for today. So talking about banking and financial services, that is there are 4 to 5, it's an entire theme that is presented to you, in which you can look into certain aspects or the challenges that are present in the day-to-day life, be it fraud detection, customer service automation, personalized financial advices, or risk management compliance. And all of these you can come up with solutions which you might be working upon utilizing the Google GenAI tools that are out there. Then similarly for retail and e-commerce, you have hyper personalized product recommendations, how you could increase your product recommendations for the end user. AI powered supply chain optimizations, that is how you would be simulating those supply chain optimizations, what are the factors that you'd be bringing in. Immersive shopping experience, that is how utilizing AR and VR and optimizing it to present immersive shopping experience to the end consumer. Fraud detection, which is how you would be detecting certain patterns, analysis, and then looking forward to how you can overcome those fraud detections. Inventory management is like how, depending upon certain spikes, how a retailer or an e-commerce could determine the forecasting of the demand, which might increase or decrease. Similarly, for manufacturing, we have predictive maintenance. These are all the themes, I'd say, which you are looking right now. So on these 5 themes, you can work upon different challenges that you're working to. You can address the challenges. You can solution can ideally address one challenge, or might be addressing more than one challenge, but predominantly it should be addressing one major challenge that you are looking to solve in that segment. So with this, I'll just quickly head over to the prize pool. So we have a prize pool of what, 35,000 US dollars. The winner of this hackathon at the demo day takes away $8,000. The first runner-up takes away $5,000, and consecutively the second runner-up takes $3,000. Along with it, there are 2 special mention prizes, which is the best user experience of the application or the prototype that has been presented at $2,000, and the best uses of Google GenAI tools at $2,000. Apart from this, there's a lucrative chance to be present at Google I/O Next accordingly for the winners. So this is what it is for you to take away. Remember, the most important aspect right now is coming up with the idea and making sure how you are able to determine how large scale the problem is and how you would be able to solving it utilizing the GenAI tools for the users and consumers, and then you would be able to accordingly proceed to the next steps. So with this, I'll just quickly like to call upon the panelists for today. We have Prashanth Subrahmanyam, Head of Google Cloud Developer Advocacy from India, C and LATAM regions. So, hello, hi Prashanth, welcome to the introductory session.
Thank you, Kaushik. So, hey everyone, thanks for having me here. And so, I just want to walk you through, as Kaushik introduced, in terms of what the hackathon, what the challenge is all about, what the problem statements are all about. So, I just want to introduce you to the some of the tool chain, some of the capabilities of Google Cloud itself that you can actually use to go forward, and also give you some sort of an inspiration in terms of what kind of products, what kind of solutions that you can actually build out. Yeah.
Yeah. So over to you, Prasant, and looking forward to all the insights that you'd be letting us know in terms of what participants should look into, what are the possibilities wherein the integration of GenAI tools could be utilized. So over to you. I'll just quickly stop the sharing and then.
Thank you so much. So I'll
Yeah.
get my slides up. Yeah. Kaushik, can you help bring up my slides and then I'll get started from there. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Super. So yeah, hey everyone. So let's get going. Right, I'm going to give you some sort of you've understood what the problem, what the hackathon is all about, and let me walk you through some of these things that is there. So I think firstly, this is a Gen AI hackathon, right? And so let's talk a little bit more about Gen AI, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the use cases that is there in Gen AI. Now, this is the truth that we're dealing with, right? So Gen AI is transforming the way that we interact with technology. These are exciting times, right? There's a fundamental change in the way technology is changing and the way that we're interacting with technology. And what's more interesting, and this is why you saw some of the themes that we had before, it's not just high tech that is being impacted by generative AI, it is the entire industry as a whole. So, right from BFSI to manufacturing to media, there are so many areas where Gen AI is impacting and Gen AI is able to show its potential. Right? It's one of the most significant technology shifts that we are seeing today. And we would like you all to think about how you can contribute, right? How you can come up with these use cases to make generative AI more relevant for some of these industries that we are talking about. There are a lot of opportunities that is there in this AI world, right? So right from predictive AI, digital transformation, right across the entire industry. If you look at things like, for example, here what we see here in terms of customer experience and personalization, this is cross-cutting. This is not with respect to one single industry, but it's cross-cutting, right? How do you improve the customer experience across various industries? How do you do, for example, something like a market segmentation to provide value to your audience? How can this be used in e-commerce, let's say, for doing recommendations? Right? These are some of the examples, use cases that we mentioned previously as well. So one is a customer experience and personalization aspect. Think about how you can bring knowledge out and share it with your end users. So extraction and understanding in the areas of research and development, things like summarization, translation, knowledge extraction, understanding images and videos. These are all excellent examples that you could use, and you could think about how these kind of opportunities can be made relevant in your industries. Look at it from an engineering point of view. How can you improve the developer productivity? How can you make Gen AI relevant for data engineering, for extracting data, extracting information from the data itself using SQL? How can you help developers be more productive, more efficient, right, in the software engineering world? So developer productivity is a very interesting use case, and again, it spreads across different verticals in terms of the opportunities that we can use. Operations and maintenance of all these tools, right? So internal applications, for example, your applications that are being used, how do you protect your applications? Look at it from a security point of view, risk and fraud management. How can you look into the future? How can you predict what is going to come up, right? So something like supply chain forecasting. These are some of the examples which is not directly end user facing, but it's very relevant to the application that you're building out. This is something that you could be thinking about. The next thing is in terms of automation. So again, we spoke previously about image and video understanding. How can this be useful in the terms of automation and robotics? Right, predictive maintenance, Uh, in terms of robotics and industrial automation, visual inspection is something really good, right? So when you look at a piece, or something in a plant, how do you understand what's happening? How can generative AI help you understand what is happening and what needs to be done about it, right? If something needs maintenance. So a lot of these opportunities are present today. And this is what we would like to encourage you to think about as you solution, right? As you come up with some ideas for this challenge. So, of course, the first thing, as Kaushik mentioned, is we would want you to use Google Cloud to build your solutions. But why Google Cloud? Why do we feel so strongly that Google Cloud can actually help you with these use cases? So, firstly, we have had a very long history of research and innovation, right from the first paper on the transformers that's come out. We have a huge number of folks. We have over 3,000 data scientists and engineers working on deep research and innovation within Google. We also have in order for you to build out applications, you need a, a cohesive tech stack on which you can build, right? So we have a deeply integrated, in fact, we'll talk more about this, but we have a platform, if you can call it that, right? With right from the hardware, right from the SDKs, right from the different solutions that you actually go and use and build out your applications. So this is something that is available for you on Google Cloud. And finally, we do realize that these platforms have to be ready for the enterprise. What does it mean? Governance, security, reliability, maintainability, all of these things are made available out of the box in the platform for you. So Google Cloud is one of the right platforms, or one of the good platforms that you can use to build out your AI applications. And we would love to see what you can build using the platform that we have. So this is something I spoke about, right? In terms of the way Gen AI has been emerging, right from the first paper about transformers that we published in 2017 to various models and use cases that we published, right up until now, Gemini that you can actually go ahead and use. So we have this research, and this is something that we're making available to you to go ahead and use. And talking about Gemini itself, Gemini is our most capable model as of today. In fact, it's one of the first natively multimodal models that is available, which can interact seamlessly across text, across audio, across code, images, video, and so on, right? All together, putting everything together. It gives you a significant breakthrough in terms of reasoning capabilities and understanding capabilities. And these are some of the things that we would like you to think about when you come up with your solutions, right? How can you use some of these natively multimodal capabilities to reinvent the industry use cases or the industry problems that we're seeing out there? So with that, I'll just play a couple of videos, right, in terms of inspiration. What are the things that you could potentially do with a multimodal model that is made available to you through Gemini? So in fact, we just announced Gemini 1.5 Pro yesterday with the potential context window of 1 million tokens, right? And it's limitless in terms of the kind of things that you can actually do with this. So let me play a couple of videos just to get you started off with in terms of what you can actually do with this. And I'm going to get this started.
This is a demo of long context understanding, an experimental feature in our newest model, Gemini 1.5 Pro. We'll walk through a screen recording of example prompts using a 402-page PDF of the Apollo 11 transcript, which comes out to almost 330,000 tokens. We started by uploading the Apollo PDF into Google AI Studio and asked, find 3 comedic moments, list quotes from this transcript, and emoji. This screen capture is sped up. This timer shows exactly how long it took to process each prompt, and keep in mind that processing times will vary. The model responded with 3 quotes, like this one from Michael Collins, "I'll bet you a cup of coffee on it." If we go back to the transcript, we can see the model found this exact quote and extracted the comedic moment accurately. Then we tested a multimodal prompt. We gave it this drawing of a scene we were thinking of and asked, what moment is this? The model correctly identified it as Neil's first steps on the moon. Notice how we didn't explain what was happening in the drawing. Simple drawings like this are a good way to test if the model can find something based on just a few abstract details. And for the last prompt, we asked the model to cite the timecode of this moment in the transcript. Like all generative models, responses like this won't always be perfect. they can sometimes be a digit or two off. But let's look at the model's response here. And when we find this moment in the transcript, we can see that this timecode is correct. These are just a few examples of what's possible with a context window of up to 1 million multimodal tokens in Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Awesome. So one of the examples, right? How you can have an enormous corpus of text. Think about, in the industries, product manuals, maintenance manuals, service manuals, right? In the areas of manufacturing and product maintenance. How can you use GenAI to actually digest all that information, maybe take a photo of the plant itself, right? Or the equipment itself, and get it to understand what's happening. Is everything working fine? Is there something that you need to do in terms of maintenance? These are the kind of things that you can actually do now with the model, that the capability that you have. Let me go
This
to
is
the
a
next.
demo of long context understanding.
This is another
This
example.
is a demo of long context understanding, an experimental feature in our newest model, Gemini 1.5 Pro. We'll walk through a screen recording of example prompts using a 44-minute Buster Keaton film, which comes out to over 600,000 tokens. In Google AI Studio, we uploaded the video and asked, find the moment when a piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket and tell me some key information on it with the timecode. This screen capture is sped up, and this timer shows exactly how long it took to process each prompt. And keep in mind that processing times will vary. The model gave us this response, explaining that the piece of paper is a pawn ticket from Gold & Company pawnbrokers with the date and cost, and it gave us this timecode 1201. When we pulled up that timecode, we found it was correct. The model had found the exact moment the piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket, and it extracted text accurately. Next, we gave it this drawing of a scene we were thinking of and asked, what is the timecode when this happens? This is an example of a multimodal prompt where we combine text and image in our input. The model returned this timecode, 1534. We pulled that up and found that it was the correct scene. Like all generative models, responses vary and won't always be perfect. But notice how we didn't have to explain what was happening in the drawing. Simple drawings like this are a good way to test if the model can find something based on just a few abstract details, like it did here. These are just a couple examples of what's possible with a context window of up to 1 million multimodal tokens in Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Awesome. Again, think about this, right? Previously, we saw text. Now we saw videos, right? How much intelligence can you extract from this information that you have available? So these are amazing ways, right? So when you, let's say, we spoke about customer experience across different industry verticals. Many times we ask them to give us, we ask the customer to send us a video of what's going wrong or a screen recording, and then need to pass through it manually, try to understand. Imagine if the systems could do it for you, right? So if a video was, you maybe even over a camera, you see something live, and the model is able to pick and identify the moments where you need to intervene and maybe do something about it. So these are the kind of innovations that we can actually bring in using the power of, at least the power of Gemini, the kind of capabilities that we have in there. So let's walk through some example use cases just to get you started. Right? You're not constrained by this. You, of course, open up your horizon, go and build out things that actually matter to you, that you have experienced. But just as an example, right? Some of the things that you could do. For example, this is something in terms of enhanced virtual assistant, for example. So what we're looking at is, how do you help improve back office productivity by locating and summarizing information and providing communication between internal groups and customers. So in terms of, this is a good example in terms of, the banking segment, helping improve the customer experience, reducing the cost to serve. So many times you would have been using some services. Let's say you call the banking call center and you have to wait so long to get somebody on the line and then explain the problem to them, and probably they transfer it over to an expert. There's so much delays, right? So you can help improve the customer experience drastically by using the technology, the GenAI technologies that we have. So how do you go about doing it, right? So this is a way to think about it. Get the user to interact either by text or voice, You can build out a chatbot or an info bot that is getting this information. You make your capabilities available via APIs. You could potentially use the conversational AI that is available through Dialogflow CX. And this is able to understand this information, digest this information, and give the responses back to the user. Right? A sample architecture, of course, like I said, I showed Gemini 1.5 Pro just before this. This came out less than 24 hours ago. And this, again, now changes everything. Right? So this is an indicative way of the kind of way you could build out these use cases. But again, use your imagination. Right? Look at what is their technology today up to date, and then you can build something out. The other use case from the one more use case from the media world, right? Media entertainment. How do you generate text summaries of audio and video assets? If you want to do, for example, marketing or personalization. So there's one of the use cases that is mentioned, which is hyper personalization, right? So how do you understand what the user wants, and how do you find? Sorry, this.
Hello.
I'm setting this something.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Sorry, there's some disturbance in the room. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So media content summarization is basically what I was going through, right? So hyper personalization. How do you understand what the user wants, and the second thing is how do you relate this to the information that you have available, right? Maybe in text or in video and so on. So this is something that you could think about, right? This will help improve personalization, improve productivity, decreasing time to value, and also help in researching new audiences. So this is a way that you could build this out, right? And again, this is using some of the gives you an idea of how to do it, right? So you have your data, you have your information. You could use BigQuery. You publish this through Cloud Run. You can use a speech-to-text APIs. This shows an example, for example, the Palm API that used to be there before, but now you have the Gemini API. Right? So you have even more capability that is available for you that you could use today. So this is how you would put together such an architecture in terms of identifying the use case and putting the various Google Cloud pieces together in order to build out your use case. The next thing is in terms of e-commerce or in manufacturing, supply chain manufacturing, for example, or you have your products or warehouse management. How do you build out a digital shelf of your products? So is there a way that you can use the large language models, LLMs, to actually understand the products that you have available and build out a digital experience for your end users? Right? So categorizing your products, for example, providing value there. How do you do demand planning? How do you manage the product descriptions and the content that you publish outside? So these are some great use cases that you could think about in the retail e-commerce world, right? Or in the manufacturing world as well. And again, the way that you would put this together is you would, So you have the information that's available. You would now go into the Vertex AI, and I'll talk a little bit more about Vertex AI. So you will extract the embeddings, or you'll create embeddings from the images, from the content that you have available. Based on the user's requirement, you will use the matching engine to identify, we are talking about personalization, right? So you're going to create recommendations using the matching engine, and then you'll be serving this to the user, right? So this is an example of how you'll actually put some things together. This is somewhere you probably want a human in the loop, and maybe you want to make the model more fine-tuned for the specific use case. So you may want to have a human in the loop and then give this information back to the end user. So again, yet another example, right? I don't want to go into too much detail about this. This is essentially to get you thinking about the kind of use cases that is available and how you can put different products together to actually build out your use case. Awesome. So with that, let's go into a few things, right? How do you get started with all of this? Right? You have your idea, you know how to build this out using Google Cloud, but how do you actually go and get started? So we'll look at how you can actually get building Gemini-powered applications using Vertex AI. Now, if you notice, there are two ways of accessing Gemini. One is using the AI Studio, and the other thing is using Vertex AI. Now, AI Studio is actually a freely available browser-based tool that you can actually start prototyping. So when you have an idea and you want to see, how do I actually use generative AI? How do I use Gemini to solve these problems? You can quickly get started with AI Studio. You can get an API key, fire a few calls, use the SDKs that are available, and start building out your applications. right? So either on the browser-based tool on AI Studio itself, or you can get an access to an API key. But now when you want to start building out enterprise-grade applications, that is when you come into Google Cloud and you start using Vertex AI. So this is the way that you should actually get started. Prototype something quickly, maybe using AI Studio, and then come into Google Cloud and actually build out your application. So this is how the stack looks like. In the beginning, I mentioned we have an entire stack, an entire platform, a vertical platform, which lets you build out your generative AI applications. Right from in the beginning, in the bottom, you have your AI optimized infrastructure. The first and most important thing that you need to do to serve your GenAI models is solid infrastructure that can deliver your services and the architecture you're building out. Right. So be it using GPUs, be it using TPUs, all that is available in the AI optimized architect infrastructure platform of Google Cloud. And on top of this infrastructure, you now have your Gemini models, right? You want to use the smaller models or you want to use the larger models based on your use case. All of this is available to you, which will run on top of our infrastructure. And then, as I said, you have the two flavors of user interface or the platform on which you're going to build your application. One is the AI Studio, but then you will want to come to Vertex AI and start using Vertex AI to build your productive applications. And then there is Duet AI on top as well, in order to improve developer productivity, in order to increase the efficiency by which you're going to be interacting with these with the stack and with all these components that you have available. You can use Duet AI. All of this is powered by Gemini, right? So Gemini is there all around to help you out in each of these things that you're going to be using. So once you start getting into Vertex AI, this is what you need to do. Initially, you're prototyping, you're using the Gemini APIs, but now you probably want to go one level deeper, right? So at the bottom, you have something called a model garden that you see here. Model garden is where we have a myriad of models available for you to go and use, be it small models, large models, model that specializes in code, model that specializes in images. All of these are available for you to pick and choose. So you will first need to identify what models you want to work with on Vertex AI. The second thing is you probably want to, the next level of things that you'll do is actually start tuning these models. So make these models tuned to the specific use case that you want to solve, right? And we'll go a little bit more detail into each of these things. But how do you make it work for the use case that you have in mind? You may also want to augment these models with additional information, right? And we'll go into that. And finally, you will deploy these models, right? You need these models to run. It needs to serve the user traffic, right? So you go into the deploy stage. Now, this is when you're directly working with these models, but then you also have capabilities that is there out of the box that does most of this for you for specific use cases, right? For example, if you want to build a search interface, so you have Vertex AI Search that is there that you could actually go and start using already. Or you have the conversational experience, right? So conversational AI is also available, which you can use if you're going to build a chatbot or you're going to build a conversational interface. So these are the technologies that is available for you, right? So when you start thinking about a use case, next thing that you're going to think about is what capability of Google Cloud you will use to actually start building out your solution. So in the case of Discover, as I said, you have the Google Foundation models as well. You have really powerful models like Gemini that is available that you could go and use. Or if you find other open models that you want to augment your solution with, these are available as well within the model garden. So this is something you can come and pick and choose what works best for you. We have over 130 and it's growing, right? The number of curated models that we have, both first party, third party, and open models that is available. The next thing, as I said, you will tune the model. What does tuning mean? First thing is these models are foundation models, right? They are general purpose. They do a lot of things well, but you may want to do a few things really well, right? In which case you're going to tune these models. You're going to be looking at prompt designing. Think about how you're going to use the right prompts in order to get the information that you need out of these models. You can, if you want to spend more time, make it more fine-tuned, you can go into RLHF, reinforcement learning with human feedback, or even distillations, creating your student model, creating smaller models, which is very specific to your use case. These are things that you could do, and you'll have to come onto Google Cloud. You need to use the infrastructure that we provide, or the platform that is on offer. You can't do these things on the AI Studio, right? AI Studio is good for prototyping, But as you want to start getting into these specific use cases, that is where Vertex AI is coming in to help you out. This is the flow, right? So the way you should think about starting to use an LLM is don't directly jump into start distilling and making it more specific. It doesn't work that way, right? You have a model that is general purpose, that is really good, that has a lot of emergent capabilities, and you need to use this and you need to get the best out of this model. So go step by step, right? The reason I'm going into detail is we're talking about tips and tricks, right? How to get you started in using these models and get you building your solutions. So first, start with your base model, with your foundation model. Do some prompt engineering, right? Do some prompt design. Think about, is the model helping you with your use case? Give it some guardrails, give it some limitations. Tell it what kind of output you expect. So do the prompt design. If you still need more capability or you need to extract more out of that model, now you go into the tuning part of it, right? So we have the tuning capabilities that is available within the Vertex AI. So you can use the tuning capabilities to customize in terms of what the model can do. Now you want to make it even more specific, right? You want to use reinforcement learning and help it understand exactly, given two options, which option would the human prefer, or which option would you, as the one building this application, want the model to respond with, right? So you go into RLHF in that case. And finally, all of this is done. You want to now create a highly specific model out of this larger foundation model or the larger base model. That is when you go into distillation and then they bring it up. As you go through this cycle, it starts getting more and more complex, more and more technical, which is why I said, start from the left, start with prompt engineering, see how it works for you. And if only you need to go to the next level, if there is custom data that you need to train it on, you can go there. There are a lot of other patterns, right? For example, RAGs, retrieval augmented generation. We'll talk about this later, right? There are workshops coming up where we'll talk about each of these things in more detail, but I'm just giving you an idea how to think about it. Okay, and then yes, so this is like RAG, what I said, right? So this comes up later on. So how do you augment? You ground your models in data. You want it to give you information from available information, right? So you want it to generate completions from available information, in which case this is what we call grounding, right? So ground it to the data. Maybe there's a document, maybe there is a body of knowledge based on which you want the model to answer, right? So that is something that you could do. RAGs is something that is there, and with Gemini you even have multi-model RAGs, right? So what you saw in that video, essentially, right? It is going through the video, understanding the examples that we saw, and it's giving you that information. The power of these is also using real-time information. So you could go to extensions, connect to third-party applications. You could do function calling, connect to APIs, get real-time information. What is the value of the INR in USD, right? What is the conversion between INR and USD today? As of this moment, your LLMs won't be able to help you with that, right? You need to make an API call, get the real-time data, and then augment the model with that information. So that is something that you could do, right? Think about those use cases. And finally, of course, you need to deploy this. So this is, for example, the kind of the RAGs and the how to use the vector database, how to use embeddings. So again, a kind of an idea. Convert your documents into embeddings, use vector search to query this document, give it to the LLM, and the LLM generates a completion for you, which the human would like to hear, which the user would like to understand. Extension is what I spoke about, where you integrate with in real time with other third-party applications. And function calling is one where you actually call APIs and augment your model with the responses from these APIs. Deployment is the next thing, as I was talking about, where finally all of this is done. You've built your application. You need to now deploy this somewhere. So again, Vertex AI provides you this capability to deploy your model. A lot of things that you need to think about while deploying, right? And sorry. So this is the deployment part, right? And then the next thing is actually the search and conversational side of things, which are the capabilities that is available for you to go ahead and use. So if you had to build your search, this is what you would do, right? You would have your document, you would parse it, chunk it, build your embeddings, what we saw before in the RAGs, right? Indexing, storage, and then you build your search on top of it, and you serve these models. So all of this is given to you out of the box with Vertex AI Search. If you're building applications where you are using the capability of search, then just go with the Vertex AI Search. You don't need to build all of that by yourself. All right. So search is one of the capabilities, and as well as the conversation interfaces. So again, various industries, right? Be it retail, be it call centers, be it within your applications, the conversational interfaces are super powerful and super useful here that you can use. Building virtual assistants, doing any kind of document synthesis that is there here, All of these are various ways in which you can use the conversational interfaces. Awesome. So essentially, start thinking about how you want to use it, right? We have interfaces that is available across for various kinds of developers. You can use your Vertex AI, you can use your Gemini models, be it whether you're doing a mobile application, whether you're using Android, whether you're using Firebase, whether you're using Flutter, whether you're doing machine learning on Colab, data analysis work or data science work on Colab. All of these things, you can use these interfaces. So wherever you are, these capabilities are available for you, and you can go and start playing around with it and start using these. Awesome. With that, I'm super excited. Hope this was interesting in terms of understanding where you get started, what you could use based on your use case, what makes most sense for you to use. I hope this was a good overview. You were able to get some information from this. And I'm super excited to see what kind of solutions you're thinking about and what are you going to go ahead and build after this session. Like I said, a lot more information, a lot more details will be coming to you in upcoming sessions. But with that, I would like to hand it over back to Kaushik right now. And let's go to see how you can actually use a platform that's available to submit your ideas and go on from there. Kaushik, can I hand it over back to you?
Yeah, thank you, Prashanth. Thanks a lot for the insightful session. Basically, like letting us know the possibilities or how we can utilize different GenAI tools, be it Vertex AI or Do It AI, and be it utilizing AI Studio, and how we can harness its power to help solve the challenges which are out there. So, without wasting any further time, I'll just quickly share the screen so that we can go ahead and have a look at what we are for this hackathon. So we all must have come across this page. That is where we have all registered through. It has a brief overview on what the hackathon is all about. Any questions, any queries that you might have, you can join the Discord forum that is presented over here, or you can write to us at genai-apac-support@hacktoskill.com. The eligibility criterias, who can participate, and journeys and the phases have been listed over here on the first landing section itself. Thereafter, you can go through the challenges that I listed before, speaking in detail about what is expected and what all domains you can work into, be it retail and e-commerce, BFSI, that is banking and financial services, manufacturing, or be it media and entertainment and innovation. So this is where you can get a broader view on what are the things that you would like to work upon. Thereafter, you can have a look at what the timeline looks like. And post that, the most important section which I'd say onto the page right now is the requirements. What to be built, basically, utilizing what are the collaboration criterias, submission, in terms of submission, what to submit, so submission specifications, uh, prototype development, documentation, what should it consist of, then again the evaluation criteria, how the team should be evaluated in different stages, that is through the vision that they have got, that is problem statement alignment, relevance to the demography that we are addressing, and real world use cases. Accordingly, the technical merit, that is utilization of Gen AI tools, expertise in coding, that is how well your code has been written, scalability and sustainability would be the other factors in it. And then obviously the user experience carrying 20% weightage, which would have more towards how your entire experience, the platform that you're working upon has come up, and similarly the innovation and creativity. There are a list of FAQs that you can look into at any given time and understand what are the questions that you might have. All you need to, and another thing is that this page is available in 4 languages across, that is Indonesian, Korean, and Chinese traditional, apart from English that we are presenting right now. Also, the sessions that would be coming up, the master classes, they would be in different languages as well. So now once a participant clicks on register, so they would be filling up a form and would end up onto a dashboard like this. This is where you would be doing all the activities related to the hackathon. So be it the step one, formation of a team, refer to the resources that is out there, developing the project and submitting the project. So all the steps are written over here. Also, a sample presentation has been provided, which would consist of what you can ideally look into in terms of whenever you are preparing your prototype, what it should consist, the ideation basically, what it should mandatorily consist of. That is brief about the idea, opportunities that you're looking forward to, like how it is different from any other existing solutions, how will it be able to solve the problem, list of features offered by the solution. That is, you could either present a flow diagram, a process flow, or might be a architectural diagram that you can list over there in this entire how you are solving the processes. Technology is used as a mandate. You need to mention which specific Google GenAI tools you are integrating or utilizing along with the prototype or the solution that you are curating. Estimated cost, if you want to implement, like what is the estimated cost, and then that is it in terms of the entire presentation submission. Apart from this, just select the problem statements. You have got the option to create your team or join a team accordingly. You can also explore the publicly listed teams that are present over here. All other kind of information would be listed on the dashboard itself. The recording for today's session would be present on the dashboard as well. So these are the basic journey steps that we'll be looking forward to. Now, as we are about to move towards the last bit uh, of the session today. So, Prashant, I'd like to have some like note or advice, or I'd say tips and tricks for the participants who are looking forward to scattered through different themes that they are opting for, the challenges that they are opting for. What is it that they should keep in mind when they are making the idea submission so that their chances of selection are actually increased? So, Prashant, if you could share some light over there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think see, it's what we're looking at essentially here, right? We're looking at how we can solve real world problems. Right? So that's the whole theme behind this hackathon. Right? It's not coming up with just a cool idea, but it's a cool idea that's relevant, right? And how you can make the best use of generative AI for this, right? While you have a lot of other technologies, what is that unique capability that Gen AI can bring to the picture, right? And again, specifically think about Gemini, right? With multimodal, with these capabilities, there is just so much that you could potentially do that we have not thought about. So that will put you on the right track, right? To think about use cases, use your experiences, things that you've faced across these various industries. Maybe you've done some banking, maybe you've of course you would have done some shopping, e-commerce. So look at, get some insights from your experience, your pain points, and come up with the ideas in terms of how we can solve it, right? So relate that to the themes that we have. So yeah, we're looking at basically that, right? How you can actually leverage the power of generative AI and leverage multimodality to solve these kind of problems. That's something we're looking for. So that'll definitely, we would love to hear that, and of course, that's going to increase your chances of getting through. Yeah.
Yeah, as Prashant was mentioning, just explore and look into the problems that you might have observed unknowingly or unknowingly while going through these experiences. And the moment if you have ideated or found certain problem, just try to solve it in your capabilities and put it up in a format that helps us, the panelists, to understand what actually your idea is and then move ahead. So that is what we had for the introductory session. We'll be lining up a couple of more sessions, master classes basically, on you to understand how to utilize Gen AI tools, how you can integrate with it with your existing problems, let's say the product or the prototype that you have got, and what are the ways in which you can look into utilizing it. So that is it for today. Now we'd like to have some questions from the community that we have. We'll be taking up questions from the YouTube, and we'll be quickly just answering them as we go ahead. So, yeah. So, Prashant, the first question that we have got is that do we get data or we have to collect based on the use cases we select?
So this is entirely your application that you're building out, right? So you need to identify what the problem is, what you're trying to solve, and it's also up to you to come up with your own data. So yes, it's end to end yours, right? We will help you with the workshops and other things. We're going to help you with the technology, how to use it, but the problem statement itself and the relevant data for that is something that you need to come into the challenge with. Yeah. So potentially 1 million tokens, right? And I know I said potentially, but it's actually an up to, right? So not that's what I meant by when I said potentially. Um, some of these capabilities that you would have seen also in the slide is currently available in preview. These features are available. You could use it, right? But you need to be given access to this. Now, again, this is where Kaushik mentioned about the different stages of the solution challenge, right? So, as think about firstly how you can use this, what you're going to use it for, these kind of capabilities, and as part of this challenge, we can help you get access to it. If your solutions get selected into the further stages down the line.
Yeah. So the next question, Prasant, is may I use SAP Business Technology Platform to integrate Gemini to solve any business problems?
The second, it's open, right? So there's no constraint. You do have to use Google Cloud, right? The whole idea is this is a Google Cloud Gen AI hackathon, right? So if you want to integrate other third-party applications, third-party products, it's open. However, we are looking to see how you can make the best use of Google Cloud Platform. So if you have a joint play, a way you can integrate things together and showcase how Google Cloud Platform helps you in your SAP BTP, then go ahead, right? Again, think about it, give your submissions, right? And we can see if it's how relevant it is to Google Cloud in that case.
So, a quick question for you: will Model Garden list the models available on Hugging Face platform um, for direct consumption?
No, again, so things are dynamic. A lot of things would come in. We have a lot of partnerships. New models could be coming in by the day, right? So what I would encourage you is just watch the model garden. Keep looking at it. As I said, it's 130 plus. It's growing by the day, right? So as new models are made available, it'll definitely show up. Yeah, so just watch the space essentially, and the idea is probably more important than the kind of model that you want to use. There are various models that give you the capability that you want to use, right? So just watch the model garden, see if there's something that you have that you would like to use.
So, in what ways can GenAI be used to explain loan approval decisions using visual explanation and counterfactual analysis, ensuring transparency and fairness in lending process?
Rupashri, have me on your team, then I'll be able to help you with this. Make me a part of your team. No, just kidding, right? If I give you the answer how it can be used, then that is the whole point of this challenge, right? So great that you're thinking about this. Now think about how you're going to make the solution, right? How you're actually going to use GenAI to do this. That's the whole idea behind the solution challenge. It is not a give a problem statement and who solves it the best, right? This is the opportunity for you to come up with these problem statements, come up with the ways in which GenAI can help, right? So there is a lot of potential. A lot of folks in the industry are looking at these verticals and these problem statements to solve using GenAI. Looking at what you want to do, how you want to solve it.
Yeah. If an individual wishes to join, does it make a difference in the GenAI hackathon's task dynamics compared to a team of 4 members?
Um, I mean, it's up to you, right? So I think, Kaushik, what's the team size? We have your 1 to 4 members,
Yeah,
right?
1 to 4 members, yes.
Exactly, right? So it's up to you. Um, if you are a person that prefers to work by yourself and you think you're a lot more productive and you can do things by yourself, then go ahead, as long as you're allowed to register, right? So it's more of you or how you like to work, right, than a dynamic of if there's a team of 4, right? So it's completely open up to you how you want to do it.
Yeah, so this is the last question, and that we get every time we do with cloud partners is that do we get any credits for Google Cloud? So, shall I answer this, Prasad?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so as mentioned in the program journey, if you are able to make it to the phase 3, that is wherein you'd be developing the prototype and you are among the top 45 to 50 teams, you'd be eligible for $500 worth credit on Google Cloud. So I hope that answers and that gives you a motivation to come up with a greater idea so that you end up getting your privilege of having the Google Cloud credits and coming up with the best solution. So that is what we should be looking forward to. So thank you, Prashant. Thanks a lot for joining in and helping us understand the possibilities on how GenAI tools and its capabilities could be utilized in entire journey of how we are integrating into our day-to-day solutions, and how the already existing solutions that we have got could be enhanced 10x better utilizing the GenAI tools. So thanks a lot, Prashant, once again for joining in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. With that, on a closing note, I'll just quickly wrap up a few things. So, first of all, remember the idea submissions close on 8th of March. We'll be having a couple more master classes. Keep an eye on your dashboard as well as email inboxes. Do join the Discord channel wherein all the communications, your support should be handled by our support executives. If you have got any queries, please feel free to write to us on the mail handle written on the website itself. If you have any queries, make sure you write to us and we'll be able to answer you directly over there. Focus on the idea generation right now. The focus for all the teams right now should be on how you identify a problem exactly that is existing in the current ecosystem in the 5 domains that are out there, the 5 themes that are out there. Look into the challenges that your solution or the idea is being able to solve. Address a narrative around it, like how big the challenge is. Try to come up with certain market researches and analysis on how big the challenge is that you're trying to solve and how it would be impacting the entire ecosystem. Then look forward to how you would be integrating GenAI tools into it, because that is a mandate. You need to integrate GenAI tools to make your solution better. And then what would be the leverage and the advantages once you have implemented those. Once while you have been doing this, you'd also attending the master classes wherein you'd be better understanding on the possibilities of integration of GenAI tools and what are the scope over there. And then just wishes yourself the best of luck so that you end up being in the top 50 teams for the prototype phase and then work onto the prototype. To all the teams that proceed, will be meeting again, and obviously we'll be meeting again in the master classes. So see you all. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining in today, and thank you, Prashant, once again for taking up your valuable time and helping us take us through the entire possibilities and understanding what are the tools that we could utilize. So thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone.